probably should have recorded this before I started getting it wet, but I think I took a photo, so I'll put that up there anyway, about now. So that was it before it got wet. Now it's wet and I'm just trying to clean as much of the crap off this as possible. This seat came out of a truck that was used on a farm and it is very grubby, but there are no splits in the fabric and the bases aren't actually that worn either, so I'm hoping that I can get the grub out and then that base will go into my van as the new passenger's base, and that backrest will become fabric to repair the driver's seat. I don't know whether this will work because it depends how ingrained it is. Right, good. That's already looking promising. Basically, I was worried that it was faded. It's not, it's just dirt. The blue stripes in my van, because it's only ever done 40,000 miles, are really quite pronounced and they look nice and bright and shiny. Whereas this, you can hardly even see them. But it looks like with a bit of washing, this will come out. I'm going to give it an initial scrub like this, but it might be I strip the fabric off entirely and then see if I can work it in the washing machine. I'm sure my fiance will like, so I'll have to do it when she's out. Or maybe I'll put it in the bath. A jiffy later, we have blue dirt. Blue dirt. This is going to look good, I hope. I'm trying not to rough up the fabric too much because it does go furry and I want to avoid that. Lots of washing and scrubbing, and I was worrying that it was just embedding even more so. So I've got George Hoover, who's a wetback. It's doing something, but it's not as impressive as what I was hoping. So I'm going to persevere with hose pipe and George Hoover and see what we can't do. Hold on, bit of water on you there. Progress is good, but I'm still never going to be able to get that base clean with it on the foam. So I am going to take the fabric off the base. I'll probably leave it on the backrest, but that base has got to come off to be cleaned properly. Seat is mostly apart. Fabric is loose, and you can just see how much crap is in here. Some of that is foam, but most of that is dirt that's come from the top and works its way down into the seat fabric. It's held in at the back here on metal rods, and usually on cars I've seen before, the metal rods are just tied to the underside. That doesn't appear to be the case here unless it's under that membrane, so I'm going to have to go digging for them to actually separate the foam and the fabric. Finally separated it. Basically those metal channel rail things, whatever they are, they were glued into the fabric. On other cars I've seen, there's like a leash that goes right the way from the underside of the foam through the foam to pick up on that bar and then pulls the fabric tight. This one is just glued in, so I've torn the glue out and I'll have to glue it back in later. Before I risk contaminating my bath or washing machine, I thought I'd just blast it from the back side now with the hose, and that seems to be working pretty well. I shall demonstrate, or attempt to. So pick a really grubby bit like that. And voila, it's really working this, so my bathroom might be saved. I don't know whether that's being picked up by the camera, but you can actually see rivers of brown coming out. Before I ruined my bathroom and got murdered by my fiance, I decided maybe I should use a plastic bucket and some warm water and see if I can get more crap out this way. Turns the water chocolatey. This is looking promising. Bear with. That's definitely been an improvement, but it's still going to need the bath treatment, I think, because it's just not getting the grub out as much as I would like. Yeah, we shall see. Well, if honest, still a little bit disappointed. That backrest has come up fine, and that can replace the one that's in the van. That base is still very grubby indeed. I will continue to try and clean it, but I'm not sure that's ever going to be nice enough to go in the van. I'll show you what's currently in there. So that's the backrest at the minute, and most of the fabric's okay apart from this. I haven't tried to clean this at all, so I don't know whether that's going to come out, but maybe I use that backrest in here. This seat base has got a hole there, fraying here, and it's grubby. So I don't know, we'll just have to wait until I finish cleaning the other one and it's dry, and then I can take a look. But certainly, even if one of the two is scrap, there's going to be enough fabric in that central section to repair the driver's seat, which was really the whole reason I bought that seat. And well, I didn't buy it, I got given it. I went round to buy a power steering pump and the guy had it, and I said, how much do you want for that? He said, you can just have it. So that's the bit that actually needs repairing. Ah, good, I've got another one of those. Yeah, oh well, it's all fun. Guess where we are? That's right, my bathroom. In there is that seat base again. Been scrubbing it with an old sink brush and using mint and tea tree oil, because the tea tree actually gets rid of grease and the mint just makes it smell nice. So yeah, you'll have to wait until it dries to see what it's actually like. Now that it's damp, it looks good, but of course as soon as it dries you start seeing all the imperfections, so we'll just have to wait and see. It's the next day. That's the seat I've just pulled out of the van. That's the one I was working on yesterday. That's the seat base now. It's dry. It is by no means perfect, but at an initial glance you'd have to say that is pretty damn good and a lot better than it was. So rather than this one with the tear, the stray ends, and whatever this is, we have potentially a better seat. The only thing I've spotted now, which is quite annoying, is this fraying. That panel is pulling out of that seam and it doesn't have a lot left. So before I commit to putting that one in, I am gonna try and clean some of this goo out. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's paint. It feels slimier than that, but if I can get that out, then I'll probably reuse that backrest. I still haven't worked out exactly what this stuff is, but it doesn't like panel wipe, which is bad for it, good for me. I've put some on there, and the reason I'm using panel wipe is because it's a solvent, but it should evaporate off and not leave any residue, unlike white spirits. But yeah, it's come to like a crumb almost, and then with a nail brush it's starting to actually come out. It's almost like Play-Doh. I think it's some kind of silicone sealer perhaps, I don't know, but anyway, I'm going to persevere and continue cleaning, see if I can't get that out, because this seat backrest, other than that, is probably the better one of the two. I think I've used the term before, beyond tedious, and I might be boring you with phrases I use over and over again, but that's kind of in the nature of listening to someone all the time. But anyway, this is beyond tedious. If I use the wire, sorry, the nail brush and just tufts the fabric up. I don't want that, because although I can razor it back flat, it just wears the fabric. So really the only way of getting this off is to pluck it with your fingernails, which is time consuming. So whether I can be bothered to do that right now, I'm not sure, because it is actually dry and there are other things I'd rather do. This is something I can do inside on a rainy day, or even when this is back in the van. So I might accept that I know how to do it and I can do it, and concentrate on putting the rest of the seat back together, and worry about this later. Well, I have been carrying on regardless of what I might have just said in the last bit of video. It's almost therapeutic, although undeniably tedious at the same time. But yeah, douse it in panel wipe. It's definitely silicone, I can feel it on my fingers. And then you have to sort of pinch it and then pick it out. This tufting, you can kind of get it to sit back down, but it might be you have to go over it with a razor blade or a pair of scissors or something to make it look nice. But yeah, basically when I've done this seat backrest with a bit of a clean should be basically mint. Well, that has worked rather well. Yes, you can still see bits of it, but actually when that seat's together, it's in the van. That's just going to look like normal wear and tear, and if I could really be bothered I could continue picking at this. It's just at the bottoms you can see tiny bits of silicone still stuck in the weave. They do come out, I just kind of got bored of doing it if I'm honest. But yeah, result, one backrest done. I think I can pretty much put it back together again. It's quite laborious. I don't think I showed this, but basically the seat covers are just held on with these plastic clips. Pop them off, re-glue those strippy things, then go back together. This seat is better put together, and I can actually see how it's been done. You've got a rail sewn through this loop here, and then bulldog clips, or bull ring. They're the clips that trimmers use to very quickly clip fabric together. I do have clips and I do have the tool, but I don't think I have it here. I think it's at my dad's place. So what I've done in the past is just use cable ties, which is a bit of a bodge, but I will have a think. Made an executive decision. I'm still in tier 4 lockdown, so I can't go over my dad's and get my proper I think they're called bullnose clips, but you can Google them and you'll know what I mean. So I'm going to cut those out, get this cover on, but when I put that cover on I'm going to use cable ties because they do work. It's not ideal, but I can't be bothered to wait. Just for clarification, that's the sort of ring with a bit cut off, and it would have just held that bar to that bar that's in there. I'm reusing this seat foam because it's much cleaner, much springier than the other one, and the other benefit is that that stayed in there. The other one, either I tore it out or I just didn't understand how it worked, but I don't think it had rings because I'd have seen them. Maybe it did, maybe it's just rotted. But anyway, time to put this one back in here. You don't actually need to do it, it just means that your bum pad will keep lifting up like that, so it's better to have it in there. So that's that is how this one worked as well. You can see them, they're all nasty and rusty, so I'll replace them with cable ties. One side laced and ready to go. So I've got my cable tie around the bar, these middle two, and that one I probably should have gone through that hole, but I didn't realise. So I need to tuck that bit in there, that bit in there, and then pull these all tight. That'll disappear inside, and the heads of these will all be down in there too, and then I can snip them off. So once again I'm going to try and employ mouth cam holder. Camera doesn't have diesel on it today, which is good. and I will do what somebody suggested and buy a mount. This camera, by the way, it might always look like it's got wet on the lens. It's not, it's a big dirty great scratch, so I fucked my camera for some reason. Nearly there. I'm just making sure that that's all going to go in nice and neat, and then I'll nip them up tight now. I'm going to cut these off and then rotate it so that is as low as possible, because you don't want that stuck in your butt on a nice long journey. It's now raining on me. Yippee! Alright, so they're rotated underneath. I mean, cable ties are perfectly fine for this. They probably won't last as long as the metal ones, but they won't rust, which is the benefit. But yeah, that's nice and tight in there, which is what you want. So one more side to do. I am going to go in now because it's raining and I want a cup of tea. Back together again. One very, very annoying thing happened. So I was pulling the cover over the frame, it started to split here, so I'm going to have to stitch that back together, just put some crude loops through to hold it, but everywhere else it's okay. It does still need a bit of a clean, which sounds silly to say it now, but only when it's dry I can still see there's crap in there, so once this is in the van I'll do it all again. But compared to this one, I think you'll agree it's a big improvement. That split was right at the front, so could not have been hidden, and now I've got my fabric if I need it to repair my driver's seat. So I will put the back together, put it in the van, and yeah, not a lot else really. Seat is back in. They're really good on this one. They're on little pegs with split pins, so you just undo the latch at the back and the whole thing pivots forward like a two-door car. I shall demonstrate if I can remember where the lever is. Is that it? There we go. Like that, and then you just take the two pins out, and anyway, that's the end result. It probably won't show on this camera, but it's not perfect, but I'm really happy. I think the hard work was worth it. It's probably taken a day in total, but this is the next one for surgery. That backrest I think is okay, just wants a deep clean, same as that base did. This, however, is foobar. There's a fag burn there, obvious tear here. And this stuff, it might be silicone, I'm not sure. I think it is, feels like it. Don't know what that is. It's a bit more ingrained. But that's quite a wide panel. So it's going to have, it might be that one of those other backrests has to come apart. Annoyingly though, it has that same pocket inside it that holds the base into the seat. Or holds the fabric into the seat base. So how that can be replicated, I don't know. It might be that the centre panel up here has to be taken off the old backrest and then used to do that bit, and I think it might just be long enough. But anyway, that's another day. That's for somebody who's got a sewing machine and some skills. So I'll have to remove this, give it to somebody else, and they can do it. Thought I would reward myself by fitting my new number plates. I couldn't get quite exactly the same font, but this is pretty damn close. The K different profile, the 8's different, one has a tip on it, but the J, the R, the W are really pretty good. So I will enjoy fitting those now. I'm annoyed with myself. I thought I'd be clever, hold this over this new plate, drill through, and then the holes would line up perfect with the holes already drilled in the bumper, and I wouldn't have to drill anymore. That would have been great. However, whoever did it originally did it a bit wrong, so that is high and that is low, which is really annoying. If I'd noticed that, I would have just done them in the middle like I usually do. Oh well. From a distance you can't really notice, so it's not so bad. rear plate onto. While I was back here, I knew the reverse light wasn't working this side, so I fixed that. This side, the cluster cover or the lens has broken. It's been taped together in the past, and it's just about hanging on. I've taken all the old tape off and I've cleaned out all the soil and dirt that was inside it. I'm going to go see if I can find some sort of glue that will stick that back together and be watertight. I might have to buy something special because I'm not sure I've got anything that'll do it. I was going to do a neat job, but I realised I couldn't be bothered for two reasons. One, it takes time to do all these things, and I just want this on and basically watertight. Two, you can see that that whole inner edge has fractured, this bit here, and that's the bit that seals the dirt out and the water out. So even if I fix the outside of this lens, it's never going to seal properly. So it's for the bin long term. Shorter term, I'm just gluing it with some super glue, and then I'll put some clear tape on the inside, and hopefully that will be not an MOT fail. And you can still buy these lenses, but they're 70 quid a pop, which might sound like a lot, but you've got to remember this is a prestige vehicle, so you know, comes with the territory. But yeah, just got some super glue on there. Gonna wait for that to go off, bit of sellotape on the inside, and then shove it back on the van. And I think that's about the end of this video. Goodbye.